This is a multiple choice AP Precalculus exam too. I'm gonna make it two videos, so 1 through 16 first. Number 1, consider the function g and h given by g of x is 4 to the x and h of x is 16 to the x plus 2. In the xy plane, what is x coordinate of the point of intersection of graphs g and h? So whenever you see the intersection, you can set equal to each other. So 4 to the x equals 16 to the power of x plus 2. So to solve this one, you try to match the base. So I can say simply just left hand side keep it, and 16 is a 4 to the second power x plus 2. And we know one of the property for exponents x to m power of n, that's x to mn. So when you multiply it out, right hand side, so 4 to the power of 2x plus 4, and left hand side just keep it 4 to the x. Now you can just drop base 4, then x equals to 2x plus 4. So when you solve for x should be negative 4. Okay, so answer is A. All right, next one, number 2. The function f is given by f of x is a log base to 2x, and then what input value in the domain of f is the output value of 4. So output is a 4, so you plug it in into y, and log base 2x. Okay, and one of the property for logarithm, you can change this one as an exponent, right? So going around, so 2 to the 4th power equals x, right? And then 2 to the 4 is a 16. So your x is a 16, and it is in the domain. So that's the correct answer. Number 3, the function k given by k of theta equals 2 sine theta. What are all values of theta? If it's within 2 pi, k of theta is a negative 1. So you substitute negative 1 into here. Negative 1 equals 2 sine theta. And then when you divide by 2 both sides, sine theta is a negative 1/2. Now within one full domain, 0 to 2 pi, your sine value is negative if you consider all student take calculus. So the sign is a negative means it's located either quadrant 3 or quadrant 4. And your reference angle should be, since the sine value is 1/2, that's a 30 degree pi over 6. So you're looking for here, so pi plus a pi over 6, which is a 7 pi over 6. Or you go all the way up to, this one, you go start from here always, all the way up to here. So 2 pi minus pi over 6, that will be then 11 pi over 6, right? So those are two values will be answer. So D. Okay. Number 4, which of the following expression is equivalent to log base 3x to the 5th power? Okay, log 3x to the 5th. One of the property for logarithm, this exponent you can take in the front. Then 5 log base 3x. Okay, then it should be C. Right. Number 5, which of the following statement is true about exponential function h given by negative 3 times 4 to the x? Okay. So since your a value is a negative, instead of going, and b value is a greater than 1, so instead of going this way, if a is a positive, but this one is a is a negative, right? So then you flip it, so going this way, right? And of course this point here, when x equals 0, 4 to the 0 is 1, so negative 3 times 1 is a negative 3, so it should be negative 3 here. Okay, graph shape like that. Then you can choose your answer. H is always should be decreasing, right? Not increasing. And the graph of H always concave down. So this shape is concave down, right? So answer D. All right, number 6. In the xy plane, the graph of rational function f, or at x equals 2, and input values of f sufficiently close to 2 correspond to output values arbitrarily close to 6. Okay? And then which of the following defines f of x? So since they said f of x has a whole at x equals 2, that means x minus 2, this factor with the same power, you have to have a numerator and denominator. So a is okay. I see that here. Now b is okay too. But c, you don't have it, x minus 2. And also you don't have on the answer choice is D, right? So, and then which one makes sense here? So for this information here, when x approaches to close to 2, y approaches to 6. So here's what you have to do then. After you cancel out this one, right? You can cancel out and then substitute 2 into x. Then 6 times 5 over then just 1, right? Which is a 30. So that is not the answer. Must be B. But let's see, after you cancel again, and then you substitute 2, so 6 over 1, which is a 6. Yeah, that is this description, right? Okay, so answer is B. Now, 7. At time t, water begins to pouring into empty container at a constant rate. It was empty, and then at a constant rate. The water pours into the container until it's full. The situation is modeled by the given graph, where time in second is the independent variable, and the depth of the water in container in centimeters is a dependent variable. So this is dependent, this is independent. For which of the following containers would the graph be appropriate? Okay, so if you see the graph here, in the beginning, the water pouring is a constant rate, but this height, depths, the increasing the depths will keep increasing, right? Keep increasing, and then up to a certain point, and then start to decrease, right? Like that. So if you think about the container, answer most likely this, right? Why? When you pour the water here, so this height, since this area is a lot bigger on the bottom compared to this, right? So relatively the height goes up faster. So it kind of increases here. But now after this point here, so this is the fastest in the middle. So that's why it's kind of steeper. And then it'll much more bigger surface area, right? So to feel that, it getting slower, right? So answer has to be B. Now, at time t equals 0 years, the population of a certain city is at 23,144. During each of the next 10 years, the population decreased by 4% per year. Based on the information, which of the following models the population as a function of time t in years for 10 years? Okay, so what he said is it decreases every year 4%. So we can use this formula, right? So your population equals your initial population times 1 plus r and power of t, right? That's the kind of formula. So in the beginning, so when t equals 0, 23,144 initial population. But in these times, your R value should be negative because instead of increase, it's decrease. So 1 minus, but make sure your R is percent in decimal. So 4% is not 4, should be 0.04, right? And then power of T, so T is in years. So which one is the same? So 1 minus 0.04 should be same as a 0.96. Okay, so answer C. Number 9, where both expressions are defined, which of the following is equivalent to this expression. Okay, so you can simplify this one. One of the Pythagorean identities we know is 1 plus tangent square x equals secant square x, right? I want to memorize this one. Oh, we have two more, like a sine square x plus cosine square x equals 1. That's a more common. And also 1 plus cotangent square x is a cosecant square x. Okay, those are very important property. So I'm going to use this third one. So if you manipulate this one a little bit, so by subtracting 1 both sides, so we know that then secant square x minus 1 is tangent square x. So 답은 tangent square x over secant square x. Now, tangent is a sine over cosine, so I'm going to change into sine square x over cosine square x. And secant is 1 over cosine, so secant square is 1 over cosine square. Okay? And then after that, if you multiply cosine square top and bottom, then this one cancel out, right? So then you end up with just sine square x. So answer C. Okay. Number 10, the location of point x in the polar coordinate r, theta is like this. And then which of the following describes the location of point x in rectangular coordinate? So how are you gonna convert your r, theta into x, y? So x is r cosine theta, and y is r sine theta. Okay, this one just memorize that, and this is r and theta. So when you plug it in, 1 cosine 5 pi over 6, and your y value 1 times the sine 5 pi over 6. So cosine 5 pi over 6, which is in second quadrant, so that should be negative value. So we can already choose this, right? That's only negative value. 5 pi over 6 is root 3 over 2. And sine 5 pi over 6, that's a positive value, which is that's like positive value here. And then referencing pi over 6, which is 30 degrees. So sine 30 is 1/2. So answer is A. Okay. Now the figure shows the graph of the exponential decay. We call this one going down means exponential decay. If it's going up like that, then exponential growth. Okay. The coordinate of the 2 points are labeled, and if y equals f of x, what is a y coordinate of the point on the graph where x equals 0? So when x equals 0 is right here, then that time what is a y coordinate? Okay, so that means you need to set up equation. So exponential decay function y equals a times b to the x, right? And then we know since this is a decay, b has to be then between 0 and 1. Okay, so let's use these two point to figure out a and b value. So 10 equals a times a b square, and the other one 5 equals a times b to the third power. Now you can divide like this. So 5 divided by 10, which is a 1/2, and this cancel out when you divide it, and then b cubed over b squared is just b. So I got b value. Now you can plug it into the first one here to get a value. So 10 equals a times b is 1/2, so 1/2 square. So that means a should be then 40. Okay, so I found my exponential decay function, which is your f of x equals 40 times b value 1/2 to the x. Now question is, when x equals 0, what y value should it be, right? So then 40 times 1/2 to the 0 power, which is just 40. So answer is A. Okay. so let's move on. Number 12. So they give you table. The table gives the values for function g at selected values of x, and which of the following statement is true. Okay, so they talk about what kind of function you have, either linear or quadratic. So linear means you have a common difference in the y value. Quadratic function is their difference, like second difference in the y value should be constant. Let's break it down then. So this one, you add one, right? And here you add 3. So this one add 5, and this one add 7. So we know that that's not linear. So you can eliminate. It's not linear, so it should be quadratic. Now let's see. It's a second difference is the same. So here you add 2. Here add 2. Here you add 2. So okay. So second difference is they are uh, equal, right? So then answer is this one. If you see the successive second difference of the output values over the equal interval input values are constant. Okay, then why B is wrong here? Average rate of change over consecutive equal length interval is not constant because average rate of change is right here. Okay, you can say change of average rate of change, that will be equal. Okay, so like here, that is a change of average rate of change that equal constant, but just average rate of change over the equal input interval, it is not constant. So in that sense, B is wrong. Now number 13, the function f is given by f of t equals e to the t. The function g is given by g of t is 7 times ln t. The function h is given by h of t is f composite g of t, and which the following expression for h of t and t is greater than 0. Okay. So h of t is f of g of t. Okay. And g of t, you substitute this one, you substitute into here. So then e to the, instead of t, 7 ln t. Okay, that's a composite function f of g of t. Now next step, e to the ln, then t to the second power. Okay, this 7 you can bring it up here. So and then after that, e to the ln, it cancels out. It just then t to the 7. The property I use here, one of the property for logarithm and exponential, like a, log value a, base a, and then b, that should be just b. Okay, that's the property you need to know. So ln means log base e, so it cancels out. And then it's just a t to the 7. So answer B. Okay. Number 14, the binomial theorem can be used to expand the polynomial function p given by p of x equals x minus 3 to the power of 5. Okay, what is the coefficient of x cubed term in the expanded polynomial? Okay, so binomial theorem, x minus 3 to the 5th power. So binomial theorem is usually, this is how you're going to expand, NCR, and if this form is like a plus b to the n power, then how you going to expand it? I mean the specific term, n minus NCR, and then a to the power of n minus r, and then b to the r. So that's a specific term. Okay, r's term. So you can say, okay, my n is a 5 here, so x to the you can say 5 minus r, right? And then they give 3 to the r. You can set it up that way. Now you can decide what is r here. Our interest in here, I want to make x to the third power. So this one should be 3, right? So then r should be 2. So let me substitute. Oh, I forgot here. Then n is a 5, 5 c r. Okay. So since we know 5 minus r equals 3, then r is a 2. So you substitute. So 5c2, and then x to the 5 minus 2 is a 3. That's what we want, x to the third power, and negative 3 to the second power. Okay, so don't just compute the whole thing. You have to look at answer choices. So you don't need to know this one, right? You can just ignore x cubed, just like you want to know this coefficient. So since you are not supposed to use a calculator, what is NCR, right? NCR is n factorial over n minus r factorial and the r factorial, right? That's something you need to memorize. So 5c2 means 5 factorial over 5 minus 2 is a 3 factorial and r factorial is a 2 factorial, which is 5 times 4 times 3 factorial over 3 factorial, 2 factorial, and this one cancel out. And then 2 factorial is just 2. So that's 5 times 2 is a 10. Okay, so we end up with here, this one is a 10 times negative 3 to the second power, right? So if you look at the answer choice, B is correct answer. Okay, so the key is this one. You have to memorize like what is a specific term. Then using binomial theorem, you can find that term. Okay. Now number 15, the function g is given by g of x equals to 2 cosine pi x plus 1, and which of the following is the graph of g between 0 and 4. So let's analyze this one here. So then we know amplitude is a value, which is 2, and period is a 2 pi over b. In this case, b is a pi, right? So pi, so period is 2. And then your center line is 1. Okay, so if you look at answer choices, so you can just kind of graph it. If it's hard to figure out, then your center is 1. So you start from 1 here, and then you go amplitude up to down to. So 3, negative 1. And then period is a 2. So let's say 1, 2 here. And then this is a positive cosine. So you can graph it like you start from here and you end here and then here, right? And then you can make it 5 points, and then your cosine graph looks like this. Okay, so that's a one period I graph it here. So most likely that one is then A is right answer for that graph. Okay, number 16. The figure shows the graph of the G in the xy plane and with the 4 labeled points, so A, B, C, D. It is a known relative maximum is right here, that's A. Only point of inflection is a C. Yeah, that's the concavity changes. Okay, and of the following points, at which is the rate of change the least? Okay, rate of change means a slope. Where is which point has least slope? Okay, so you can kind of tell this is a slope is 0 and then some negative, and since this is going down up to here and then going up, so at the point of inflection, that's the least one, right? And this is kind of positive, so we know answer has to be C. That's the slope is the least at the point, and then after that it kind of tapering up, right? So it's getting bigger. Okay, so that point is a least slope you're gonna have. Okay.